Hello and welcome to Fidelity Next, our webcast that explores getting to the next level in your career. I'm your host, Tamara Radachai. Today we're honoring themes from International Women's Day as we discuss building meaningful careers in finance and product, with an emphasis on what building truly means. Here with us today to share their stories are Tisha Lawton, VP Product Solutions at Fidelity Clearing Canada, and Alana Mangold, Director of Wealth Management, Reporting and Data. If you have any questions for us today, please drop them in the comments and we'll get back to you after the show. Alana, Tisha, welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so before we dive into our special International Women's Day edition of Fidelity Next, let's just talk about both of you, sort of your background, how you got started, how you built your careers, how you got to Fidelity to sort of warm things up. Alana, let's start with you.
Okay, so I've actually been at Fidelity for a very long time, 12 years in total. And I went to Western for my undergrad and I graduated, and I was one of these people who really didn't know what they wanted to do when they graduated. So I ended up moving to British Columbia for a year, and snowboarding and working part-time at a few different jobs. And after living the ski bum life for a year, I decided it was time to smarten up and go back to school and figure it out. So I went back to Toronto and I did another year of undergrad. And I pursued my CPA designation now after the merger. And I worked at a large professional services firm downtown Toronto, specifically focusing in financial services. And that's where I really started to learn my love of financial services, which sounds very cliche, but it's very true. So I tried a bunch of different industries, and one of the things that was nice about professional services was being able to see different industries, different firms, different corporate cultures, because I felt like when I ended up at Fidelity, even though I'd only worked 4 years in professional services, I had probably 20 different companies that I'd experienced in that time, which really helped me see that Fidelity was a special place and had that strong corporate culture, whereas I think sometimes people come here and they haven't had that breadth of experience and they think the grass is greener, and I can tell you that it's not. So I've been here for 12 years. I started in finance. I tried a variety of different roles within the finance architecture. After 10 years in finance, I actually moved to Fidelity Wealth and Private Wealth back at the start of 2023. And I actually held a few different roles within that world as well. Director of Operations for Private Wealth, and most recently in October, they changed the organizational structure to bring the management of Fidelity Wealth and Private Wealth together, and now I'm a Director of Wealth Management looking after both brands.
Great, and by finance you mean corporate finance?
Correct, corporate finance, yes.
Okay. Tisha, what did your journey look like?
Well, unlike Alana, I knew exactly what I wanted to do going into and coming out of university. I knew I was going to pursue a career in financial services. I specifically wanted to pursue a career as a financial analyst, which I did get that opportunity a couple of years after university, working with an investment counselor. I learned a ton about portfolio construction, stock selection, and the like. But the most important thing I learned was that was not for me. I wanted more out of my day-to-day, and that led me into more of a wholesaling role. So I worked did wholesaling for a manufacturer, mutual fund company for years, and learned a lot about the industry, client experience, and that led me into a product role in the head office, which actually, like Alana, I got a lot of more exposure to just a single vertical. Like I got a lot of exposure to operations and sales and investment management, advisory, marketing, communications. So that product role was really central for me in learning a lot of different things. So, and that led me to Fidelity. I've been at Fidelity for almost 10 years, Fidelity Clearing Canada. I joined to build out a platform, or to deliver on a platform strategy that really was meant to change the way how our clients access our services and really help advance the industry. And I'm continue to do that today. I'm evolving the strategy as the industry has presented new opportunities, and as well as our growth and client base. So it's been a really exciting journey. Lots of experience. One of the big things that I could look back and knit through is that all of those opportunities really came from the network that you build through all those experiences, which has been quite amazing. So
perfect into our second question.
There you go.
So the theme of this year's International Women's Day in Canada is give to gain. So whether that's something about generosity or mentorship or collaboration, what does give to gain mean to both of you? Alana?
Okay, so I used to co-chair the Women's Leadership Group. So I have a lot of experience on supporting International Women's Day, and I love this theme. And I think this really resonates with a lot of people because it's so simple, but it's so beautiful in the same sense. So we all know what reciprocity is, and a lot of times I think people give to see what they can get back, to gain. But I love that this flips it on its side and says, well, what can you give to gain yourself? So I strongly believe in the mentorship program that we have at Fidelity. I've been a mentor. I was a mentee, actually, for quite a while. Kelly was my mentee, she still is. I still go to her for advice, Kelly Croman. But I also love entering into the mentorship program because I think if you're just going to go to work every day and see what you can do to progress yourself and not progress your team or not progress other aspiring leaders within the organization, then what are you doing? Like, how are you helping us to grow, and how are you helping Fidelity itself to up level, and how are you helping your fellow colleagues or even people outside of work? I think that the theme of give to gain really resonates with me because it's the whole point of why we're here. It's to give, to make your fellow man better. I love it.
Tisha, what does give to gain mean to you?
I was going to say, I love it too. I think it's more about like how you live your life, actually. I feel like it's sort of central in how you live your life. You give your energy, you give your support, we come to work every day, you give your brain, your, all of your time. So like that's what life is all about. And I truly believe like when giving fosters giving, like it just feeds it, start giving, people want to give back. I just am like, I immediately see that energy growing and I love it. And I think actually there's a real theme around that as well. Those help build relationships and form like some of those informal mentorships that can be really critical and crucial through your career and your life as well. So I see that happening a lot through that kind of engagement with people, especially in Fidelity. It's one of the things I love the most about the collaboration here. It's a very, very
culture
collaborative.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And everybody's here. It's you're here to up level other people, but also to challenge them to be better and to grow. And I think we're really comfortable and we have a really unique corporate culture that we're able to challenge assumptions and challenge each other and challenge ourselves.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the quote, a great leader doesn't show you their superpowers, they show you yours.
Yeah, I love that.
All right.
That's a good one.
Alana, you mentioned that you didn't really know what you wanted to do when you graduated. So to students who might be in the same position right now, upon graduating, what advice do you have to them?
It's a good question. And I think when I was younger, it was, not to age myself, but there was less resources available to understand what's out there. And I think sometimes youth this is what you will do. And when I was growing up, it was, you're going to go to university. And that was what was happening. And there was no, this is what you do after. I love this quote from I don't know if you've ever seen the show Girls, but I love that show. And there's this quote where Marnie's like, I just want someone to tell me this is what your life should be and this is what you need to do. And that so resonated with me when I was that age. And I was like, I just wish somebody would tell me this is what you're supposed to do. And that doesn't exist.
Right.
But I think that resonates with all of us. But what I would really encourage people to do, and what I ended up doing, was talking to people. We used to call it interest interviews, and now I think we just call it coffee chats. But have as many coffee chats as you can. I had a coffee chat today, actually, with one of our co-ops who said, I've done 7 different co-op programs, and these are all the different experiences that I had. And I love that she's getting herself out there, getting a breadth of experience, trying new things, talking to people, going outside of her comfort zone to really have those interest interviews or coffee chats to say, well, what is your job? Tell me more about what you do. And trying to understand what interests her or you or he, and like what ignites your passion. Because your career is going to be long. It's going to be really long. And you're never too old to pivot. I pivoted at I'm not going to say my age, but in 2023, I pivoted out of finance and into wealth management, which has been a huge learning curve for me, but it's what keeps me excited. And it keeps me wanting to get up and go to work in the morning because I'm invigorated and I'm energized. And I think the best way to figure that out is to just get as much information as you can, talk to as many people as you can, try as many things as you can, and don't be afraid to take chances. Because even if you try something and you don't like it, at least now you know that you don't like it and you're one step further to figuring out what you like.
Yeah, great. Tisha, at one point in your career, you said that you had left the initial industry that you started in and sort of went a different direction. How did that affect the rest of your career trajectory?
Yeah, I happened to do that a couple times, and
Okay.
like Alana, I'm a lifelong learner, and that's like for me, I need personal growth out of my role in my career, or I feel like I'm not really giving as much as I can. And early probably in my career, maybe not as early to the university students, but certainly early for me. If I look back, about a decade in, I started kind of exploring where could I grow and how can I learn more. And I had explored other opportunities in different industries, and I looked into lasers for medical aesthetics. So I went out and I endeavored upon this opportunity to try and demonstrate that all of these skills that I've learned up to this point are really transferable, and how do I continue to be inspired by different opportunities out there and learn and see how those transferable skills could benefit to my advantage. Secondarily, I had also left the industry and done a construction engineering program about a decade after that, and those types of things just have really fueled how I like the value that I deliver. I believe I learn so many different things out there in the world, and then bring them back to my role. It's really helped fuel me. So I'm with Alana. Say yes to everything. Try new things. See where those opportunities are. Even if it's not a directly in the path that you had otherwise paved for yourself. Like, for example, I thought I was going to be a financial analyst. Even if it's not directly in that path, you'd be surprised by what you learn about yourself and discovering those new opportunities and what really makes you tick. So
But you made a great point in transferable skills too. Just because you don't have the skills that are on paper for this job doesn't mean you're not learning things in whatever it is that you're trying that will help you build success going forward.
Yeah. Alana, was there a key defining moment for you when you look back, whether that was an epiphany, a conversation you had with someone, just a moment in your career that either inspired you or shifted your thinking?
So I struggled with this question over and over again in my mind, and I was like, what is that one moment? And what I realized is it's not a single moment. It's a culmination of moments that tend to drive you in a particular direction. But I was struggling to figure out what my next move was, and I had a conversation with my father, who was in business for many, many years, and he said, have you ever done this book? It's called What Color is Your Parachute? I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I did. I was going to mention that
Were
earlier.
you? Okay, good. So he was like, you have to do this book. And I was like, this book is so old. How is this going to help me? But I went through and I did the workbook. And what I realized by going through the workbook was that I am super motivated by learning and constantly challenging myself and growing. And I realized that as long as whatever I'm doing helps me achieve these objectives, I will be engaged and I will be energized and I will be invigorated. But had I not done that exercise, I think I would have been a bit more ambiguous about like, what is it that drives me? So I think that was a key moment for me in realizing I needed that challenge and I needed to continue to grow and learn. And I was able to then take that and say, okay, well, what does that mean for a career path? And that's actually what led me to wealth, was out of finance. I've been in finance for a long time and thought I needed a new challenge. So here I am.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because as you were saying earlier, there was no guidebook to say, here's where you're going to go next. You have to go to university and this is what your career is going to look like in the rest of your life. But that was something that was introduced to me after I discovered, that financial analyst career that I was so sought after wasn't necessarily for me, and it was introduced in broke down a lot of barriers, made you think differently about yourself, right? Like there was preconceived notions of the way that you were supposed to operate, I guess, or the next thing.
Yeah,
so yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Well, and I also I meet with a lot of people, coffee chats, co-ops. We have a really rigorous co-op program here, which I'm sure you've all heard about. But in that experience, I find it's really interesting because I used to call it, when I moved out west, called it my quarter life crisis. Because I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And it's interesting because your whole life you're like, okay, get good grades in school, get into undergrad, go to undergrad, graduate, then get a job. Once you get a job and you show up in a job and you're like,
Now what?
Is this my life
it's
now?
over now.
It's over. I'm 25 and it's done. So it's like, what is the next thing? And I think this is where having those people, the guidance, giving to gain, going back to the theme of really getting to know someone and helping people on those paths and investing in yourself, giving your time and your energy to help somebody grow and help figure out that path, or to help yourself figure out that path, is just, it's insurmountable in terms of the value it can drive.
Tisha, to your point about discovery, as you sort of moved through your career, I know you said you discovered a lot of things along the way. What advice do you have to younger people who are kind of moving through their careers as far as having an open mind? And
well, yeah, open mind is one thing for sure. Like being open to new opportunities, like I was saying earlier. Like when you're introduced to a new opportunity, it might not fit your perfect, career path, but you don't know what doors that opens for you or what you'll learn about yourself. So I do truly believe you want to say yes to everybody. I also think you do your job the best you can. Like show up at your role. Like don't just come there and just sort of figure out what that role is going to deliver to you. What can you put into that? And I just truly believe that helps discover who you are and how you like the things that drive you, and then also builds the network that will start opening up other opportunities that will guide you along the way. You never know. Like it's not over at 25. There's so much more to discover. There's so much more. So
much more. You've got a midlife crisis.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you really
a couple of those. Yeah.
Alana, you already talked about a book, but I know you're an avid reader. What are you reading right now that's making you think differently?
So I recently finished Good to Great, which is one of those traditional business books. I'm sure you've also read it. But one of the topics that really resonated with me in reading that book was a level 4 versus a level 5 leader. And I think that that's something that I have been challenging myself to think more about. In the context, so a level 4 leader is someone who is exceptional at their job, is exceptional at leading people, but not necessarily exceptional at making the organization self-sufficient, so that when they leave, eventually, it falls apart. So if you look at Bob Iger and Disney, when he left the first time, they couldn't do it without him, and they had to bring him back. And now the next time he's leaving, he's saying, it's not going to be what it was before. I'm now setting up the organization for success. So that's him trying to evolve from a level 4 to a level 5 leader, where a level 5 leader helps the organization succeed and helps build the sustainable future and helps drive them on a path to success that is not contingent on that individual being there. So I'm trying every day, and this goes against my nature, to sit back more and try and let people come to the decisions on their own and bring people along for the ride. And how do we think that we are going to evolve as an organization and not just myself as a leader? But how am I doing the best to set the organization up for success in the future? Not just my team or not just myself.
Cool. I love that one. It's an oldie but a goodie.
It's so old, but it's good.
Yeah.
The references in it, I'm like, what organization is this? Does it exist anymore? But yes, great one.
It's a really interesting point, though, because it kind of exposes that part of your career growth where you become valuable because of all your expertise and your knowledge and how you add value. It really takes a lot to kind of break through that space and roll into that more leadership role and let people be that person to grow and learn and give their expertise. So I love that. Love that book and that reference.
I feel like we should share reading.
Yeah, we should.
Question for both of you. Are there any books you think that absolutely everyone has to read? The ones that are, timeless or
so
current?
For me, it's Who Moved My Cheese.
I was thinking that one too.
It's such an easy one. Everybody can read it, and it just has that. You could take from it what you will, because I think it's up to interpretation or how you unpack it for your own personal perspective. But I just find it a very kind of sobering message there, right? And really kind of opens up your mind into looking at your mindset in different ways. So I highly recommend that.
Okay.
It's all about change. It's all about change and being, how do you accept change and how do you,
don't move my cheese.
Yeah, don't move my cheese.
Who moved my cheese?
Who moved my cheese?
No, don't move my cheese.
Yeah. Yes, that's the That's the underlying message we're breaking through there.
Yeah. I mean, these are also really old ones, but anything by Dale Carnegie, I think is just, it still really resonates with me, and I can reread anything he's written and I'm like, oh, yep.
Yeah, that's how I know it's good.
Yeah.
Right.
You know it's good when it stands the test of time.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I need to update more current reading on my list.
Might use different terminology in the update.
Yes. Shifting gears a little bit, I want to ask you both about a time where you faced a challenge or you failed or you felt like you really learned a harsh lesson or you felt like everything was sort of crumbling. And how did you learn from that? How did you get out of that? Alana.
Okay. So this goes back to my finance days, but there was a time where we were going through a large reorganizational structure thing, and our CFO called me into his office 2 or 3 days before I was supposed to go to Chile for 2 weeks over Christmas, and he said, so this is happening. I need you to cancel your winter holiday plans. And I was like, oh no.
Ooh, who moved
I'm
my
going
cheese?
to Chile. So I brought my laptop with me and I figured it out, but it was probably the most challenging 2 or 3 months of my career in terms of workload and things I'd never seen before, complexity, dealing with counterparts in the UK, the US, India, and it was very complex and it was like an insurmountable challenge in that moment. And it felt like it was never going to end. And I remember leaving the office one day and being like, oh, it's light out. And I was so happy to see daylight. But having said that, it's a moment that I constantly refer back to as an index to myself of what I'm capable of. And I think that we all have these moments in life that they feel insurmountable in that moment, but then it becomes a bit of an anchor where you go back on it and you say, I did that, so I can do this. I did that, so I can do this. And it helps you really toughen up, build grit, and give you like a baseline of your own accomplishments and like what you're capable of so that you stop underestimating yourself. But I think sometimes as women, have you ever seen that stat where a man will look at a job posting and say, oh, I can do that. I have 60% of what it needs. And a woman will look at a job posting and say, oh, I only have 60%. I shouldn't apply.
Or 99.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, not to generalize, but we are talking about International Women's Day. But I think that women need to really have a tangible moment that they can refer back to and say, I did that. I can do this. I did that. I can do this. And for me, that's that moment. And I think a lot of people can think of what those moments are and use it as a point of reference for themselves.
Yeah. Tisha, what was your...
Well, I was going to dodge this question a little bit by saying more that I think these things happen every day, like in different varying size, like shapes, sizes, and forms. And I do believe like it's all how you deal with it. From like I think that through my career, I've really kind of evolved from a mindset perspective of being able to put things in perspective, right? And I think that that's truly something that a lot of people have to make effort in doing, and it's something that has helped me. But I'm also a natural problem solver, so I love a good challenge, and I love to be able to unpack that and try and solve for it. But on my own, personal failures or even like team members, I would take on failures of team members, and it's really all about how you understand, become accountable, like learn from it. And I know that sounds like kind of cheesy. Of course, you're going to learn from it, but I just really put a lot of weight on not making that mistake twice, especially when it impacts other people, whether they're coworkers, clients, friends, whatever it is. So I put a lot of weight on that and really understanding it, and then working with my partners to help solve for it. Like I'm not in it by myself. Like look around, and there's always people around there to help you get through it. So for me, that it happens daily, or it feels like it happens daily, or there's lots of different ways that challenges or failures pop up, but it's all in how you deal with it and lean on the people there to support you.
And the perspective you see it from, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the interesting things, too, about being in product is problem solving and taking a large problem and being able to make it into smaller increments so that it feels more surmountable.
Yeah,
and that's
Can't eat an elephant in one bite, they
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's good
Great.
connection.
I know you're both very active outside of work. As far as like stress management, balance, mind, body, how do you feel about that? Why is that a big part of your life, Alana?
Stress management, I think, is a huge component of what we do. I also think a healthy body, a healthy mind, a healthy employee, or a healthy parent. Like I'm a mother, and I just find that when I'm in a good mental space, because I've had time to myself and I've been able to work out some of my frustrations at the gym per se, I'm just a better person. And I think that that's really important to balance your health goals with your corporate goals, with your personal goals. Like, we are one person and you show up to work as who you are. You're not, I'm employee Alana today, or I'm mom Alana today. You're always who you are. And a part of what I think is so great about our culture is that I can show up every day as myself, and I'm just a better version of myself when I'm going to the gym. So yes, I think that's very important.
Tisha, what about you?
Yeah, for me, physical fitness has been ingrained in my life since I was young, but I loved it. But I took it on as intensely as everything else in my life. No minute spared, everything at optimal effort, because I didn't want to waste any time. But recently, I've kind of changed my mindset on that one as well. I love a good long walk, or some yoga, some nice body stretching after a stressful day or before a stressful day. So it really fuels me, actually, to be able to give myself that balance. I don't know what I would do without it, to be honest with you. I think it gives you that breakaway, as you say, that connection back to yourself. Whether it is an intense boxing workout or a nice little leisurely walk through through nature with a good podcast or a good book or playlist. So yeah, it's part of my everyday life.
No, it's totally so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, one final piece of advice from both of you of all the stuff we've discussed today. What's something that you think young people, young women, young whoever, older whoever, can take away from our conversation? Alana?
You're not alone, and you're not, yes, you're an individual, but you're part of a greater landscape. You have your network, you have people here, people that you know, people that you can have coffee chats with, but just use your network, build your network, give to gain, see what you can do to contribute to the overall enhancement, and you'll never know when those connections that you make will actually come back as something wonderful, or you just make a friend for life. But if you continue going forth with that mindset of giving, that eventually it will come back to you.
Tisha?
Yeah, I think I would say probably have integrity, be reliable, and don't enjoy what you're doing. Oh my goodness, you spend so much time every day in your career, and it's really all for me, it's so much part of my life that fuels me that I love what I do. And I couldn't imagine being in an environment where I didn't. So it's out there for you is the way I would pack it up. There's something out there for everybody, and just enjoy what you do.
Go find it.
Yeah, go find it. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't be afraid to say, this isn't it.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you both so much for such a lovely discussion. This was fabulous.
Thank you. This was
Thanks
great.
for having us.
Thanks to everyone for joining us on today's episode of Fidelity Next. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to keep the conversation going, you can drop your questions for us into the comments, and we'll get back to you after the show. If you want to catch a replay of this episode, you can find it on Fidelity Canada's YouTube channel under the Fidelity Next playlist. Or if you prefer to just listen, you can find our past episodes everywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple and Spotify. Thanks again for joining the discussion today, and we'll see you on the next episode.